Alright, let's continue on. Okay, let's do this. So I just cleared out this area. Let's go into this. This is going to be a library, I think. And let's see what's behind door number 1 here. Ah, zombie. They kind of seem to cluster the enemies. So you have hunter, 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 and then zombie, 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 sort of. So, did they have an area like this in the remake? Yes, they did, but it seemed very different to me. I don't know, the more I play these games, and all sorts of games, the more I'm just kind of like, I'm fascinated by people that do the design. You know, kind of putting together, not just, hey, let's have zombies in this game. Hey, let's have mutated dogs, mutated hunter, things called hunters, let's have that in there. And so on and so forth. It's not just about that, which that's pretty cool in and of itself, especially when you have innovation in terms of enemy battles. That's pretty sweet. But then when it's time to put it into practice, and there's like a ton of questions you have to answer, like, okay, placement of items, how to do puzzles, what kind of sequence, you know, let's look at the sequence of the game and how do we want that to play out, and so on and so forth. And with, for example, a game like Metroid, and then of course Castlevania Symphony of the Night, that, to me, that is an interesting challenge. You know, you have to make sure that the placement of items makes sense so that a player can properly advance and still be able to allow them the freedom to go in different directions. Player 1 will go in a certain route, another person will go in a different route, and they would still be able to beat the game. So especially for stuff like non-linear games, I think it's pretty fascinating, and it takes, pretty sure it takes kind of a long thought process, and that's pretty awesome to me. If I ever were to enter the world of the gaming industry, you know, as an employee, not just as a gamer, of course, that I already recognize as an interesting challenge. So my hat's off to people that do that very well. I did hear, speaking about Metroid, I heard that they didn't really do that so much in Other M. Like, it's apparently very linear, and I think that's just one of the multitude of problems that game has. But I actually did buy it. I actually did, because I was just kind of curious about all this nonsense. I mean, I know the basic premise, the basic issues that people have with the game, and knowing what I know now, I can understand. I think those are valid kind of concerns that people have. Some of them border on disturbing even, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll get to a another M Let's Play. But that's gonna be very low on an already very long list of games that I want to get to. So don't hold your breath too long. Just wait and see. I don't know. Alright, so unfortunately I ran out of space again. So I'm just gonna kill this dude right here. And I do use the term loosely, of course. And chronic reloading for the win. That always bites me when I play like Call of Duty. I am a reload. I just have OCD when it comes to reloading. My gun has to be full. Even if I shot one bullet at a dude and I killed him, I still have to reload my bullet, and that always gets me in the end. That always gets me. And it's just like, you know why? Because that's the pro tip that they tell you when you play Resident Evil games. They say, always make sure you reload in the menu screen. And yes, I'm trying to kind of carefully dodge, because this perspective's a little weird, because I don't want to get bitten by the zombie on the floor. Again, why is the zombie biting another zombie? And that's the only time that happens in the entire Resident Evil series. It's weird. like I said before, I think I said it before in the previous video, I think it was just an oversight, because if someone really thought about that, they probably would make it a point to say, okay, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, we gotta have that be a body or something like that. But I don't know if it was a question that about whether they could program a dead body. I don't even know. Now I'm just getting into very complicated questions that I don't really know how to answer, so we'll just move on. I just needed a few open slots in my inventory. Just gonna go back really quick. Thankfully it's not a long ways away, and we can move on. So here we go. Gotta dodge the zombie again. I said that the other perspective was bad. This is even worse because you can't even see in that first shot. I'm trying to save on ammo because you never know. I shouldn't have any trouble because I know the zombies are all dead. And that elevator goes to the basement, but to me, there's no need. I think there's just like I don't know if it's a jump scare or something down there. It's just like a zombie that walks around. It's a nice touch, but not necessary for me. And yes, I did almost miss that grenade round because it was kind of dark. And that's it. So we're ready. We're good to go. I don't know if I think I have more grenade rounds in my inventory, but I can't remember. Especially because my inventory is just a mess of everything. So what are hunters? Most of the T-virus enemies, right, that you encounter in these games are all mutated versions of some normal organisms. So obviously the zombies are humans. You know, they're infected humans. Then you have the sharks, you have the dogs, and then in the other games you have other things like animals in the Outbreak games, which by the way, I really hope they port them. I mean, I really hope they port them to like Xbox Live and PSN, but with a few changes, like for example the ability to actually chat would be nice. But I would, oh my gosh, if they release Outbreak, or they make a third Outbreak game for multiplayer, for current multiplayer, I would be so happy. I think that would be the game I play forever. Not forever, and forever, by forever I mean like a month, and then I'll get sick of it and be like, okay, I want to play some other shit. But the only thing that I didn't like, one thing I didn't like, there's actually multiple things I don't like about the Outbreak games though. First of all, the 4 item slots instead of getting 8. I mean, I understand they have to kind of handicap you because the idea is that you're supposed to be playing with a bunch of other able-bodied or able players, and if each and every one of you has 8 slots, then you guys can each carry a bunch of weapons, a bunch of herbs, and you'd be good. So I understand there has to be an element to challenge, and that's probably why they did it that way. But then you need to also understand that sometimes, like, if you're like me, like 2-3 years too late, by the time I got the game, I got the Outbreak games, both of them, long after the servers went down in the US. So there was no chance for me to play online at all. So they have to assume that people are going to play long after the online servers go down. And so instead of playing with a bunch of smart other players, where you can actually devise strategies with them and stuff like that, you are stuck with the AI that is just spinning around and getting killed. So I played a little bit of the first Outbreak game. I have the second Outbreak game. I haven't played it yet. And they have like 4 or 5 scenarios in each of them. And I got through one of the scenarios, like the first scenario in the first game, and then I got to the second game, and I think, or the second scenario rather, and I got lost. It's a scenario where you're like in you're in the umbrella, you're in Umbrella's secret lab, and I think it's like the same area as the second game, the end of the second game, which that's a nice touch. I like that. But I got so lost and I wasn't sure what to do, and there was like a ton of enemies, and I was just like, okay, all right, rage quit. But maybe I'll return to that someday. That's another thing. There's a lot of PlayStation 2 games I am dying to like cast or just kind of play again to enjoy, but I currently don't really have a good way to play them, let alone record them. So that's something I have to figure out. I'm sure there's a way. I'm sure. So, ooh, okay. Alright, this guy's a little feisty. Ooh, I'm gonna caution. Great. Very feisty. And now I was right here. I was reminded of how they scared me. Because I thought for sure that I was gonna be decapitated. But thankfully that didn't happen. Okay, so let's say goodbye to the mansion because we're never going back to it. And I go activate the elevator now. I thought there would be hunters here for some reason, but I guess not. So let's just go. And yeah, that's right. I do have to go this way to activate the elevator first before I mess with the water. Now again, these snakes keep falling down. They keep going back up the trees and falling down. And I love how the snakes just kind of stop. They don't even try to get Jill on the elevator. So there's nothing physically preventing you from biting Jill. As a matter of fact, she's easier to bite. But then that would be too challenging, I guess. Okay, so we're good here. Back up we go. In the remake, this whole catacomb section, I don't know what you call this section here, but in this game it's pretty short, pretty standard. You'll see in this and I think the next video. But I loved, here we go again, I loved what I just can't stop singing the praises of remake. And I don't know how many other games have, several games have gotten remade over the years, right? You have the original Castlevania, got remade into, what, Super Castlevania 4? Am I writing that, or am I completely wrong? Is that a sequel or a remake? I think it's a remake, I think. Then, what are some other examples? Why am I all of a sudden blanking out so much? I don't know, but I'm sure there's other remakes that are out there. But, and Super Castlevania 4, by the way, is awesome too. I played a tiny bit of the original Castlevania. It was good. It's just that Super Castlevania, I mean, come on. You've got Theme of Simon going on in there. You got this epic battle with Dracula at the end. Spoilers. And it's just amazing. The only thing I have to say about that game is there was a really, really hard battle. Not with Dracula, with one of the bosses leading up to him. Oh my god, only old games can really make me that mad. And newer games, like, they make me mad, but like in a different way. I guess gamers are always angry, but it's just like this, but it's just like, what changes is what you get angry about. Now, with modern games, I get angry about people cheating on games, people breaking the game so hard that I can't even play the game anymore. And back then, the game would break me. So it's just kind of, it's different now, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen with the next generation. Like when I have kids,
can't see very well.
And I'm so sorry I was talking over this.
Let's go.
Okay, then I'm gonna cover you. Let's hurry. Hey, are you all right? I can go first if you want me to.
Oh, yes, please. I'm a little nervous.
I understand. It may be more dangerous if you come behind me. Be careful.
And apparently those questions...
Barry?
Apparently those questions affect the ending too. And I have to make different decisions, like here, like I'm playing heavyweight. Oh, nice mid-air shot.
That was too close. Let's go together.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, then I'm gonna cover you. Let's hurry.
So he'll follow me for a little bit. Which is nice, you get a brief break, you actually get someone backing you up, which is kind of cool. So, I was saying before, when I have kids, we'll see if they're gonna be into video games first and foremost, and what their source of aggravation is gonna be.
Is that Jill?
Is that voice Enrico's?
Yeah?
You're alive!
Wait there! Are you with anybody, Jill?
What? Oh, yes.
Enrico!
So, Barry and Jill together.
Are you all right, Enrico?
The stars are doomed. Someone is a traitor. Everything was plotted from the start by Umbrella.
Enrico!
I like this right here. Barry's like completely unfazed that someone shot this guy and was right behind these two. Just completely unfazed by that. Barry's investigating. He should probably investigate who shot him by going after the person. That's part of an investigation too. But they're stars, so I'm not gonna question their talent. Alright, so now we have a crank. They don't tell you it's hexagonal, but hey. So it's a very kind of strange way of forcing Jill to be alone again. I always love when survival horror does this. You know, they put you in a position or in a situation where you're together with somebody. So that eliminates really the fear. Especially if it's somebody like that has a gun too, you know, and can defend him or herself. So that really kind of takes you out of it. So then the game designers are like, uh-oh, we can't have them together for too long because we're trying to make a horror game. And some people are creative in terms of creating a situation where the characters are forced to split up. But some of them are just so obvious, hey, we gotta separate the two characters. Like, they literally will say, hey, let's split up, and offer really no good reason. So, it's just interesting to see. And yes, I have to look at the map a few times because I always get lost in this area. It's not really a big area, but I always get lost in it no matter... I always get lost in it anyway, so... So we're back here. This is kind of the first room that we were in, but this time I have the crank, so I can progress this away. By the way, what would be... This area connects the mansion to the... Oh, maybe I shouldn't spoil it. No, maybe I should. This game is really old. Okay. This area connects the mansion to the lab, essentially. Why would you need all this, like, nonsense just to get from one area to the other? Like, spinning walls. Like, what the hell is this?